So today is kind of a different day. We are stepping away from the bus, but working on something for the bus. So what we're gonna work on today is getting this generator working. Now this is a free generator off of the RV that I got the windows and the seats that are in the bus right now. So I'm gonna try and see if I can put this thing back together with some new parts and see if it runs before I make a bracket or a bracket system to put it on a bus. There's a few things on this that we need to replace, and I bought some of those things. Well, pretty much all of those things. So we have the oil filter, we have the spark plugs, we have the fuel filter, we have a new carburetor, and then we have a new fuel pump. We're gonna start replacing these parts one by one. We'll drain all the oil, refill that with new oil, and then we can test this generator to see if it's working or not before we put it on the bus. Now all these parts, it only cost me around $120, so I'm okay with taking a loss if this thing doesn't work. The generator is a very expensive and very good generator, so I got it for free. So if I only spend $120 on parts and it doesn't work, I'm okay with that. All right, so we moved from the backyard to right in front of the bus here. The first thing I'm going to start with is taking the carburetor off, and then I can get the fuel filter, and then I can get the fuel pump off at the same time. If I take this whole area, we already got the spark plugs out on this side and that side, so we can drain the oil afterwards. And I did put it up on this little dolly here, that way I can drain the oil out of here, fill the oil up, and then we have the oil filter right here that we can take off. I was able to get the carburetor out. So the carburetor is down there, and what we can do is kind of, if there's anything to go from that carburetor to the new one, we can kind of just move everything over, clean the surface up there, as well as there where the two gaskets go, and then we can kind of put this thing back on. And the next thing now is that there's a little like plug right here, and then you just unscrew this, and that's where the oil drains out of. And once we do that, we can take the old oil filter off and put on the new one. Right, so we ran into an issue. The connection right here for the inlet, and then right there, that connection for the outlet, yeah, could not get those off. But I'm just gonna order new ones since I don't want to strip them and break that on the old one, and we're just going to test the old one out right now to see how it works. If that's an issue, then we will put this new fuel pump on to see if it starts up. Right here is the connection for the interior switch, but right now we're just going to use the start stop on the front, and then we'll make sure that we figure out all the connections for here so that we can start it from the inside of the bus. All right, so we got all the new oil in, new filter, everything is hooked back up, and then I did put a clear hose on here. I know this is not rated for gasoline, but I just want to test to make sure that this pump is working, and then with this clear hose I'll be able to see if the fuel is getting pumped through the pump and then into the engine. So we're gonna attempt, let's put this to summer, we're gonna attempt to start this by hooking the jumper cables up to the battery of the bus, and then hooking the positive to there, and then the negative there. Alright, so now we have it mounted on this bracket that I made here, and then it's bolted down with these rubber gaskets in between on the front and on the back here as well. So we have two mounting bolts here and two mounting bolts there. So I'm going to figure out a way to lift this thing up, put it underneath the bus right here, and bolt it in. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these ratchet straps to put underneath it and then start to lift it up, and hopefully it works. And the last thing I need to do is just release this last ratchet strap. And we're in. There's a bolt right there, and then there's a bolt up top. And then on this side, same thing. 2 bolts that go through the frame rail. And yeah, it's held up. So underneath the bus, you can see it's right next to the black tank here, and that's where it's set up. And we have good ground clearance. And the next thing that we'll do is once you put this sheeting on the whole side of the bus here, that will go down, we're going to just cut out an opening so that we can access the carburetor and all the settings and the start button underneath. So there you have it. We have the generator starting and we have it mounted on the bus. So the last thing that we need to do is hook it up to the power source inside, but we will do that once we have the shore power hookup all set up as well, so we can tie them into a transfer switch. So with that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.